The music is hitting hard today, Sid, because Real Madrid just beat Alaves away from home 2-1. This is the Real Deal Real Madrid podcast with me, Jarod Hector, joined by Sid Ramsundar. Sid, I mean, not a performance that we're going to be seeing in the archives of Real Madrid elite play, but 3 points, and we'll get into it.
Yeah, I mean, to echo this comment here, labored win, but we'll take it. And I was just worried if we didn't get the result, that might have been the end of Alonso's time at Real Madrid, which for various reasons we didn't want. And at 1-1, I was scared, but Vinny scored that goal, and it was
Rodrygo. I mean, Vinny, Vinny created it, but yeah.
Yeah, and Rodrygo scores that goal. So it was strange, just a really bad performance, honestly, all things considered. But some things that got better and some things that stayed the same, that you almost wonder if the president is involved in team selection. You almost get that vibe some games. And yeah, let's get into it. So starting with the lineup, we start our new Castilla guy, Valdepenas, at left wing back.
Not to be confused with Valdebebas.
Yes. So it's a 3 at the back to start the game. Valdepenas at left wing back, Tchouaméni dropping in between the defenders, Fede Valverde at right back. And interestingly, it was a Goulet Bellingham double pivot with Rodrygo on the right, Vinny on the left, Mbappe kind of in his free withdrawn kind of false striker role. What'd you see at the start there? Anything interesting? I mean, I'll just wager this. Jude, I thought, like, just the story of the game from minute one. Was that Bellingham was the player, like, stepping up in midfield. And I thought he played his best game in a double pivot of his whole Real Madrid career. I thought that was Bellingham's best game. And it's ironic because it follows Benzema's comments, which we can talk about, like, where Benzema, before the game, if you weren't familiar, came out and said, Bellingham is the playmaker, not the striker. Vinicius is the left winger, not a 6. Mbappe is the scorer, not the playmaker. And if there's one guy who took that to heart today, it felt like Jude did, honestly.
Yeah, so much to unpack there. Even though he did not score, Jude Bellingham to me was the MVP of this match. I thought he played outstanding football. This should put to rest all those people who don't think Jude Bellingham is a midfielder. Well, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Like, if you watch that game and don't think he's a midfielder, okay. As far as his best game as a Real Madrid player, I think his best game as a Real Madrid player in this role that he was asked to play, right? I think he's had excellent games, particularly in that first season where he won the double, the Champions League and the league title, right? Where he played outstanding football, but he was asked to do something different, right? He was asked to be a false 9, right? And score goals and finish for us. So a very different performance. I take not issue, but this idea that, Benzema said it, so that's why it happened. Like, I don't think that's what it was. I think Xabi Alonso was like, all right, I think it's best for us if you are here in this role as an 8, especially if Tchouaméni is going to be dropping into the center back, right, slot when we're 3 at the back. That means we have nobody connecting from our defense right up to our attacking line. And look, I love Arda Güler. I think you do as well. But I just think that we've now seen a large enough sample size to know that, and some of it too, Sid, I think, is that he's also he's also out of form a bit too, when he's starting to second guess himself and hesitating. And look, we always talk about growth not being linear on this team. And Arda, I think, as any young player, is in that dip now that a lot of young players have. Like, he's just dipping right now in his confidence, which is affecting him on the pitch, right? All addition to all things we talked about, which is he's not physical, he can't turn out of pressure, like all the things that we've mentioned a million times. But Jude can do that, right? Jude in that role, like when he played at Dortmund, right? Which is why he was signed here in the first place. It was just that Carlo wanted Harry Kane, didn't get him, and was like, well, fuck it, you got to score goals because I got nobody to replace Benzema. Right? Jude can do this is the thing about Jude, Sid. He's so talented and so versatile, he gets penalized for that talent and versatility. I need you to play false 9. All right, I can do that. I need you to play 8. A double pivot. All right, I can do that. Like, he can do, I need you to play 10. Okay, I can do that. Like, he can do a lot of different things. And when you get constantly being pulled and prodded in different directions, sometimes it looks erratic, right? But I think it's because he's so skilled, and he was fantastic today. I think I didn't check SofaScore, but probably our highest rated player in the match today. Winning duels, linking up play, That obviously the assist to Mbappe, what a perfectly weighted pass. And then Mbappe just does what he does, cuts inside on his right foot and just goalie had no chance. And maybe a little bit unlucky, Sid, to not possibly score that goal late or even have a second assist on a third goal.
Yeah, no, it was a complete game. Like he could have had the end product and he still controlled the game. I wasn't sure that he had the level of patience we saw today. Like because it's just such a different role from what he had in 2024. Like
Sure.
you got to be the guy setting Jude up in 2024, which is like completely different from being Jude. And
But remember, that's what he was doing at Dortmund, though. That was his role at Dortmund.
he was doing a lot more, and it's just he was also doing it at a faster pace at Dortmund, is my understanding. So to finally come and do it at a Spanish pace like this was phenomenal, and the contrast with Arda was great. Was ridiculous. Arda, like now he's at the point where if he turns and completes a pass, I'm like shocked. I'm like, wow, because
I know, but Sid, this wasn't happening in the beginning of the season, though, right? Like we weren't seeing this.
I think teams figured out Arda, honestly. I'm just looking at the angles they're giving him. They're like, we know what you want. You want to face inside right and play the pass every time. We know that's what you want to do. We're going to pretend we're giving it to you every time and then take it away. And the few times he gets away with it, it still feels like they almost like hedge their bets, knowing that's the only thing he can do. So he never gets open.
So this is what all great players do, right, Sid? When your preferred outlet is scouted and known and they take it away from you, your ceiling as a player and how good you get is your ability to develop a counter to that, right? He's 20 years old. 20, 21, whatever he is, 20. I am not out here to be like, the book is closed on him. This is who he is the rest of his career. He has so much more trajectory and room to improve and grow. The question is, will he? I don't have a crystal ball, so I don't know. 2, will he have the time? And is this the right environment for those things to happen? Again, I don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah, I highly doubt that this is the environment for him. A lot of people are wondering, like, at the halftime, they were asking what happened to the Real Madrid of August of September. That was a team with no Jude that was passing side to side until Arda found a through ball. Now teams know that's coming, like, so we can't pass anymore. And what people need to realize is Arda was slowly coming deeper just because teams were testing our build up more and more. And it's just at the point where he has, like, Alonso's still playing him because he feels like he has no choice. I think the interesting thing is, like, why is Alonso choosing to die on the Goulet hill? Like, does he really think we have no passing? Because I feel like in the first half, man, like almost any other pivot combo outside him would have been fine. I just feel like
is he just doing it now because Camavinga's hurt, and when Camavinga's back, he's going to go Camavinga Tchouaméni double pivot and push Jude up to the 10.
Yeah, or I think the way Jude's playing, and Tchouaméni is moving into the back three now. Ferre's best at right wing back. So I think Jude set here. I mean, that was one of the best performances by any pivot from our whole team this season. Like, he finally just looked at it as like, my job is not to like speed play up. He finally just slowed play down. And I thought that was great. He's not going anywhere. Like he can turn out of angles. That was like the closest thing to a Modric experience we've gotten from Bellingham. Like, when people saw him as the Modric replacement who could kind of play deeper, this is what they wanted. Phenomenal stuff.
I never doubted he had it in this game. He had this in his bag. Said my issue was that what is he being asked to do? Right? This is the first time he was asked specifically to do this. Right? It's very clear in the setup. I need you to do this. Is that going to remain? I have no idea. It could be completely different the next time we're on the pitch. Right? And I think that's one of the challenges of this club. The injuries are presenting that, right? Which is forcing Xabi to make shift and pull guys here. I got to pull you here, move somebody else over here. And so if we want Jude to be this Modric or to be this deep lying playmaker, well, he has to get consistent run at that. It can't be, okay, today you're deep lying playmaker. Then 4 days from now, shit, somebody's injured. I need you to move out to the left side and be more of a central mid. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it can't be this. And the problem is, because again, Sid, he's so talented, guess what? He's going to be the one that Xabi's like, but you can do everything. You're the one I have to twist and move somewhere else. And so what that's going to do is, for lack of a better term, stunt his development as what you want him to be, that static, deep lying, not static until he's not moving, but that is his preferred primary position, which is deep lying playmaker. I don't know how long he's going to be able to stay in that one role all season. I highly doubt it, to be honest.
So that's interesting because I saw just seeing Gonzalo come on and the others come on. I wonder if Xabi kind of realized like this game, what's interesting is even with Jude doing all the passing, we actually struggled. Like looking at the expected goals here. First half up till the goal, we're doing okay. We get a chance. After the goal, we start really sagging off them, kind of giving up the ball. And I just feel like that was despite Jude playing well. So the very floor of your team, there's no control. Even when, even with Jude playing well, and the back three was actively creating space for our players. I do want to add that too. I thought Valdepenas, Fede were released into space a lot, or were pinning players in a way where somebody was open, just because the other team didn't want to press man to man our whole back five and just leave themselves exposed. So I feel like there's so much more work to be done on the team from a passing standpoint.
So much.
This is kind of shocking. Jude plays his best midfield game, and the XG is 1.6 Alaves to 0.9 us, and we're struggling to control the game. I think that's the story of the game for me, honestly.
Yeah, Sid, we are still a poor team in possession. Poor, piss poor. We can't. It's like every time someone gets the ball at their feet, with the exception of Jude, needs to have 10 seconds to think, okay, where am I going to go with the ball now? This is not, you don't have that kind of time. That's not what this is. You have to be quick with your decisions and your movement. Once you release it, get into a spot where you can receive it again, right? And it's sideways with no clear idea. And something we've talked about a bunch, Sid, no one on this team makes runs for the team. They make runs with the expectation of, I'm going to get it myself so I can score.
Yeah, so that I think that actually wasn't as much of an issue today. That I think honestly,
I thought it was in the first half.
So
we had possession. Second half was first 20 minutes.
Well, I think with Kylian, for example, Kylian is never going to make the run to pass. I think we have to accept that, just because with him, it's a trade-off where he shoots so much, he's not going to make the run to pass. In other cases, Jude didn't make it the run as much, which I thought was nice. He made it when it was needed, and that kind of left space. But Vinny wasn't great. We'll have to get into that.
Outside of the goal he created, yeah.
Yeah, and I think honestly, what happens is Vinny isn't the best passer, but he also takes it the most personally when Mbappe doesn't find him on top of that. And in my opinion, I think the body language sometimes when Mbappe doesn't find him is just a little negative, I thought, even in the first half. And I don't mean to nitpick it, but it's just something I noticed. I'm just like, you're mad. You're like, oh man, I need to get my Ballon d'Or, bro. What are you doing?
He's struggling, right? Rodrygo's struggling. A lot of these guys are struggling. And we talked about this last show, is that ambition's a good thing, but when ambition bleeds into agenda, it causes problems. And that's right. We're straddling that very awkward line, particularly with Vinicius, right? And I don't know when and how that all shifts. Look, he seemed to have a little bit more of a bounce to his step, when he was able to create that goal. And by the way, look, I got to give him his props, right? The controlled header, right? And the pace to go around to get it, and the outside of the boot pass to Rodrygo, right? Who ran to the box. That was good stuff.
But he was playing one of his worst games up till then.
He was not as bad as the City game, but because that was brutal. City was brutal.
Well, I would disagree, actually, honestly, because City, he actually creates danger with his runs. Today, he's not even doing that. That's why I go off expected goals. At least with City, if you replay that, some of the dangerous situations he's in, if he finishes better, he's better. Today, he's blowing the one-on-one. He's not breaking the duels. Mbappe is the one who's getting the shots off. And on top of that, up till that goal, I thought that was one of his worser games. The one thing I'll say is some of the decoy runs are back. Even the goal that Mbappe scored, Vinny's just making this run to the left. Vinny thought he could have been found on that goal and on another chance later, because he was pretty wide open. He wasn't found, but I do feel like the agenda has gone away. I do want to start there. When we look at the comments, I think there's been a reflection.
I hope so.
On some level, the agenda has gone down, but I think with each player, it's different. Jude accepted what he had to do, and Jude is the role model here. I think there are levels to this.
I agree with that.
So Jude is a role model where he's accepted what he needs to do and he embodies it fully. Kylian, I think he accepts he's a scorer fully. Honestly, I think he accepts it too, because a lot of the times he shoots and doesn't pass, Ronaldo did the same thing. Ronaldo didn't care if you were open. Like he would only square it if it was really obvious, but a lot of times Ronaldo would go for it himself. And I think Kylian just knows that's his job. But today, Vinny, I feel like still wants to kind of play in that interchanging role with Mbappe. I think he's asked Florentino to tell Alonso to give it to him, is my suspicion. That account, Pepe Alvarez claimed that today, the one that supposedly, like, that a lot of people around Real Madrid who cover the team follow, sometimes retweet it. I don't know why. But he was suggesting that the lineup was kind of forced by Vinny. And I say this because I don't know if Vinny is playing in that moment he scores the winner if there's no pressure from the president, because that's like he's played such a bad game to that point. And that's where the whole game, I feel like, is overshadowed tactically by what's going on off the pitch a little. It's like, whose choice is it about how long Vinny's playing? And then the coach's tactics are then dictated entirely by like the constraints of like who he has to play. And then you don't know what you're watching anymore. Like that's what I felt like. I'm like, when the second half, when they made it 1-1, I'm like, we didn't initiate anything. We're not pressing them, but we're not benching Vinny either, even when it becomes 1-1. This is what they asked for. And I thought that was a little worrying, Jarod. I feel like there was no way Vinny could come off the pitch, and this has been the case since the Clásico.
Oh, yeah. Listen, my podcast partner and True Hoop, David Thorpe, says this all the time. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. If the culture at the club is one where a player can circumvent the manager and go talk to the president about his playing time, and then the president then tells the manager, you got to play this player X amount of minutes when he wants to, whatever the case may be. And again, we don't know for sure, but we're speculating. Let's say that that's what it is. Who gives a shit what Xabi's tactics are? Right? They don't matter if that's the culture, right? Because ultimately, right, what you are saying is that player X on a hierarchy chart is above the manager. So if he can go to the president and get his time played the way he wants to, if Xabi says, okay, I need you to do X, Y, and Z, well, what is Vinny's message in his brain telling him? If I don't want to do it, I don't have to, right? Because I can go to the president and he's got to play me anyway. So this is a cultural problem at the club, right? Where if you want Xabi Alonso to be your manager in the future and build a sustainable long-term thing where he's here for a long time, you've got a system in place, you've got sustained success, you can't have a situation where players can go around him to the president to get their way. Because then what that is saying to them is he has no authority. I can do whatever I want. So who cares whatever tactics he's telling them, they're not going to do it because they have an ally who runs the whole ship who can say, don't worry about that. You can, I'll handle it. So yeah, unless that part changes, we're going to be where we are.
Yeah. And so when you put it together, the concern for me is like how much Florentino is trying to deflect from the fact that we have no playmakers by letting Vinny play and start and put pressure on Alonso. That's what I feel like the whole thing is. It's like Florentino's like, okay, like all things considered, like sacking Alonso is probably less financially damaging than like burning bridges with you. I still want to resell you. You might be thinking those things. And then on top of that, he's, like doesn't want the heat on him because he's the reason we don't have any playmaking on this team. We don't have a Zubimendi, which we thought naively that we could get past, but we were being optimistic here. We were being optimistic fans, but at club level, they weren't. They were also doing the same thing, which was the problem. Like you can't do that as a club. You got to imagine the worst case scenario, and we didn't do that. So we have no passing against Alaves in December. Like it's ridiculous. We can't pass the ball against Alaves in December.
This is the thing, right? I always say it's multiple factors, right? Players underperforming at their level, right? Coaching, new coach not communicating his ideas clearly to the player, board and culture president not empowering the manager to do his job. And also the part that we consistently allowed the board to skate by on is their piss poor construction of this roster. Literally, if you're giving out grades, this is an F-. Like it sucks.
Also, on that note, Gonzalo that everyone wants to play, you saw why he doesn't play. That pass he made late in the game. Do you know why he doesn't play now, guys?
I saw it. I was like, oh, man. And look, I'm not saying it was like a second grader pass, but damn, bro. Like a elite professional player, I feel like 9 out of 10 times makes that pass?
Well, that's the thing. And Gonzalo is essentially a limited player outside the box. So we're criticizing Alonso for not playing him, but it's like, okay, Perez didn't give him a new Joselu replacement. Perez didn't give Carlo a Joselu replacement. So we don't have someone to cross it to. And so you're left to die with the dynamics of your egoistic attackers who kind of want to do what they want to do. And that was the story of the second half, Jarod, because people were like, make changes. I'm like, who's the midfielder who's slowing the game down?
Right.
Who's the striker who doesn't do what Gonzalo just did, which shows you why he doesn't play? Like, he doesn't exist. There is no striker who's a vet presence, who makes the reads needed, who doesn't do something really dumb when he gets on the ball. Gonzalo can do that. And
do you think it's something happening in training? Because the Gonzalo with the Club World Cup looks
no, I think I just
a different player.
I just don't think the Club World Cup is an environment that should be taken seriously. I think everyone watching that tournament, I'm just like, listen, man, like these guys are half fit. Like Chelsea walked over PSG and then sold their team, sold some of the players who helped them do that. Like it's just a fake tournament. Oh, and I think honestly, where I get mad is people who looked at it as a positive, who are like, what happened to all that now? And I'm like, no, we tried telling you it was a preseason, and not you, but just in general, like the Club World Cup, even if something good happened there, it's happening in a state where not everyone is competing physically on the same plane. So it's just not going to translate as cleanly to anything that happened after. And I would argue, lastly, like, just logically speaking, if he was so good and he played in the Club World Cup, like I just feel like if he was good, he would play. But clearly something happened where Alonso realized in trading, like, hey, this guy is not going to be, hey, Flo, like this guy at some point, just like Arda. I think what happened with Arda is eventually going to happen to Gonzalo Garcia, where the scouting report comes out.
Well, what happens is the more minutes you play, your deficiencies get exposed, right? That's just the reality of how it goes, right? Like in any sport, doesn't matter what it is. First time around, it's like, oh, no one knows. There's not much of a book on you. Oh my God, it looks so great. Okay, well, now we got the book. So to your point, I know what your preferred tendency or tendencies are. I'm going to take them away now. Now what do you have? Oh, I got nothing. All right. Again, can you develop something? Again, I'm not going to close the door on either of those guys. But to your point, Sid, maybe this environment, a club that's trying to win matches and compete for the biggest trophies, ain't the environment for you to figure it out on the fly, right? Because we're losing matches as a result. Now, there's also injury issues we have to deal with, right? Which, look, every team does, but it seems like for whatever reason, my God, look, we're constantly dealing with injuries. Now, to be fair, a lot of these injuries to me, Sid, are predictable, right? Like, because these are players who have already been injured before and seriously injured before, right? Militao, Carvajal, Mendy, right? Like, it's just, that's all, like, these are all players who are constantly injured. Like,
the squad planning coming into the season was definitely short on a center back, 100%.
1,000%.
That was predictable. And expecting Militao and Carvajal to keep it up. That's why it was a miracle that we won 14, Militao, Carvajal, like coming out, putting out big efforts. It's like, this isn't lasting 50 games. But that's where Valdepenas coming out of nowhere was a blessing. I just want to say, I think this back five continues if he can put out performances like that, and Jude and Fede are gonna. Jude, Fede, him were all pretty solid, I thought, at what they had to do, which is kind of advance the ball right past the first phase of defense, and then keep things solid. Don't let the wide situations turn into dangerous spots. Shield the wings defensively, and I thought Valdepenas did a great job on the left. Just doing all that,
I thought for a Castilla kid and an away match in his first senior, like I thought he acquitted himself well, outside of the chance that gave up the goal, right? Because that
wasn't him in my opinion. That wasn't him in my opinion. That was so interestingly. I think Rudiger has now become the worst defender on the team because
Rudiger is.
I watched that clip a few times and I was just trying to figure out, if I'm a coach, who am I assigning blame to or credit to? Who am I talking to in the film room after the game? And I can't help but feel Rudiger just doesn't have to like play him on side. Like I watched it a billion times. Valdepenas' jump is perfect. If Rudiger just doesn't like kind of like sag off with him and behind him, that's offside. And I'm gonna have to blame that on Rudiger just because like you're like a millisecond of not doing something from making the right choice, which means it's your mistake. Like Valdepenas, even if he recovers, you're playing him on side, and then they're gonna get their attack off, and that's why I have to say it's Rudiger's fault. And Rudiger also just slow in possession. now making mistakes that he wasn't before, and he's not like a young body like Asensio.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
looking bad. It's looking bad for him.
Well, this is, again, to your point about the lack of center backs, right? Like, and by the way, it was good to see Dean Howson and Franco Santuano get some minutes and get back on the pitch. Rudiger was not supposed to be relied on so heavily, right? It's all this domino cascading effect. Because remember when he came back after the injury the first time this season, we were like, oh, Rudiger's looking pretty good, actually, right? But again, the goal in that moment was to have him and Militao fresh enough that you can rest both of them enough so that neither one of them is overplaying. That didn't happen, right? So you had to overextend Militao. He gets hurt. And now, because of all the other situations we have, the red cards, this card, and that one, injuries, Rudiger's got to play more than we want him to play. All of his issues are being shown, right? Like, neither of these two, we want them playing 30 full 90s. No, like that's not ideal. And if you don't have a center back besides Howson who can play 30 full 90s, you got a problem, right? You have a major problem.
We're cooked. And like, and also the issue with Gonzalo is, I just wanted to bring that up back because that's why Mbappe is playing every minute, because Vinny's not showing up. Gonzalo, you don't know if he can show up. Jude has to play deeper. I'm glad Rodrygo got his goal, but like, at the end of the day, Rodrygo is not going to be the protagonist. He's going to be a role player on a team that wins a lot. So we're really low on options, and that's why I think like this game kind of shows why our season's over, Jarod. Like,
you were right last week or last episode.
Like, what do people like? I don't see a scenario where we can go minute 0 to 45 of a game. Like, just we can't pick 30 minutes of a game and say, hey, we're passing it for these 30. At least before we could do that and be like, hey, like, we're not going to defend properly. Courtois, save us. But when Cruz starts passing, we'll track together. We'll play hard. We'll catch him off guard. Now we track together and play hard. Then we screw up because we can't turn and play through the pressure. And I think also we weren't supposed to be this reliant on Mbappe as well. I will say, like, the fact that he's hurt and playing should tell you how far the attackers around him have fallen off. Like, and he looks good shooting. Like, Vinny, this is an indictment on you, on Vinny's physical level. Like, Vinny's not winning one-on-ones, and Vinny's healthy, and he can't win one-on-ones.
Well, I don't know how true this is, but one of the reports came out where Vinny has told people in the locker room and whoever that he's not physically right.
See, this is where it all turns to like a question of
I don't know what's true or not, or what have you.
Well, either way, it's an indictment of either Vinny or the club. The fact that, as we've discussed, like it always starts from the top of an organization. Like,
correct.
Leadership makes the shots. Everyone is a reflection of what the top leader wants. And on some level, Florentino's either letting an injured guy call his own shots on playing minute 0 to 90, or he's not like telling the injured guy to stop leaking all this stuff to defend himself. I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, I don't know.
The culture, Sid. It's the culture. We talked about it. It starts at the top. We love Florentino for so many things, but this part of the business, we don't like. This is not good.
Definitely not. And I don't know if I said this the last episode. Not sure how clearly we said it, but just to say it now, definitely get the vibe that he succeeded enough where he needs to like close out his legacy at Real Madrid. And it feels like maybe his focus has shifted to like changing the legislation around like outside investors, and like maybe making sure that the club has like a good foundation to move forward. But I do feel like he's neglected some of the sporting aspect of things. And the way the reports have come out suggests that he himself doesn't back the coach. Like, he kind of messes around with the coaches, their trust. It's the same reports that Zidane was pissed off at when he left, when he said in a farewell letter that some things go beyond football. Like, it's about humanity and trust to build something, and they didn't give me that. I don't think Alonso has that trust just from the lineup decisions he's making. I think he's been told, hey, if you die on a hill, you die on this hill. Maybe he's been told, we won't sack you if you lose this way. Like, we'll tell you when you're allowed to do this. I don't know. I don't know.
Look, it is obvious where Florentino's priorities are and have been, right? How much press and PR have we seen about how awesome it was the NFL came to the Bernabeu and how much they loved it, and they're going to have more games back there. And I'm not saying that that's not important, because obviously that is money coming into the club, right? Because we let them use the stadium that gets to be used for the sporting side. But so much of the focus has been on again, maintaining the brand, this global idea, and all these things that from a business perspective, which again are important, but I don't see the same level of importance placed on the sporting side outside of shit. We need a big Galactico because that feeds our commercial side, right? Jersey sales, this, that, and the third. Let's get player X as soon as they're available, right? Like, and again, Sid, you and I are talking about we want a club and a squad that is consistent, that is long-term successful, right? And you and I think, both agree on the fact that the way football is now, with the amount of talent around Europe and with the elite tactical minds, and also clubs that are running and handling their business seemingly well in terms of, hey, man, it's not about just getting a bunch of stars together. Let's get the right profiles as match. Let's get coaches that want to build the project the right way. This idea that you think we're just going to luck our way into or win 6 out of 10 Champions Leagues, that shit is not going to happen. Like, are we going to win some once or twice because we have a lot of talent? Sure. But to maintain that same level of dominance, I don't believe that this way and this path is the way to do that.
Sometimes, like especially last decade, signing Cruz, Modric, allowing Casemiro to eventually come into the lineup after he sacked Benitez and wasted his time at the club before ceding that to Zidane. Mm-hmm. Like, at that time, I still got the vibe that they kind of watch football. Like, okay, you saw Barcelona at their best. You got a Modric for us, so we can kind of stitch some cool sequences. But right now, I don't get that vibe fully. The way Vinny's being protected, it's like, have you seen Kvicha? Like, have you seen Bradley Barcola? I want Bradley Barcola, bro. I want him right now, Florentino. Like, Barcola to Real Madrid. Let's start the movement. Bring us Barcola, or we're electing a new president.
You know, El Nassar is not even remotely going to think about letting Barcola go here. You know that.
Yeah, and I mean, he's been like this for some time, going back to Eden Hazard and signing like Hazard, Vinny, and Rodrygo instead of like one Mane or one Heung-min Son or one Mo Salah archetype, not Salah, but he's been doing that for some time. But like, you know, we bullshitted and won twice with with strange profiles and no backup for Benzema. Like, winning with no backup for Benzema in 22 just really convinced this guy. Like, I'll do whatever I want. Like,
yes, he has been high off his own supply for a long time, Sid, for a very long time. And
I think again, since the three-peat.
Oh, no club has ever done that. So again, how are you going to now tell him differently? He's like, what are you talking about? We have done historically what nobody's ever done, and we have won more than any other club's ever done, right? He talks like how the fans talk. And I'm sorry, that can't be your mindset as the president. You can't be thinking that way. You got to be like, how do we keep improving and getting better?
100%. And hey, that's the theme today. We saw like a squad's complacency in terms of playmaking, lack of depth up front with Alonso reluctant to use Garcia, who comes on, makes a playmaking mistake. We see Vinicius playing the whole game, even though he played one of his worst games, but bizarrely scoring the winner, which just encapsulates
creating the winner,
creating the winner, which just encapsulates what a strange club we are and what we're about. Like,
well, I think that when I started earlier saying we're still so bad in possession. You know where we're still very good at? On the counter. Why? Anything unsettled or when we have space, amazing, right? Because we can do that. Because, oh my God, 4-on-3, anything with numerical superiority and space, we will be fine. The problem is teams fucking know that. So they're like, no problem. Mid block, low block, this team can't do shit. They're going to give the ball up because they can't pass, to your point. They can't string 10 pass sequences together, and we'll crush them on the counter because we know we're not going to get people to run back.
Yeah, and the bizarrest thing was just Vinny, like, going from not looking like he can beat his man to suddenly making that twisted diagonal run and releasing Rodrygo out of nowhere. Because, like, going back at the goal, Vinny really like chests that and turns the direction of the ball.
He headed it first, and then controlled head, and then just turned on the jets. Like, he got the angle. He got the better angle on the defender, and then look outside of the boot pass.
Well, the thing is, the angle was okay. He just, I don't know where it goes, but sometimes that acceleration that we love disappears. Sometimes it comes back, but right there it was back. But I think that's what worries me about Vinny. That was a hard angle, Jarod. I would say that, like, the way he controlled it with his head and turn.
Oh,
you have to explode at such a ridiculous level of force. Like, you do not want to have to rely on that type of play to consistently dominate.
Yes, that is the gift and the curse of Vinicius, right? A player, Sid, who is struggling on confidence, which I think we all agree Vinicius is, right? Does not do that because they're not confident in themselves. But fucking A, he pulls it out because that's the kind of player that he is, right? Now, the question is again, how do you channel and control that? Not stifle it and lock it away in a closet, but how do you channel it so that it is best utilized for the goodness of the whole squad, right? That clearly is the struggle that he and Alonso, and look, a little reports are out now. Oh, everything's fine. Like, if you believe that, I got a bridge to sell you, okay? Like, you don't go from I'm not re-signing as long as my contract's this bad to everything is fine, like, 2 weeks later, right?
The way he looked at Mbappe when Mbappe shot, I don't think everything's fine.
Right? Like, so that is still the thing that they are balancing and dealing with. How do I do what I am good at and fit that into what it is that you want this squad to do? And the question is, can I, right? Do I have the requisite ability to do so? I don't know.
And that's why I think the best hope for us as we wrap up here is that we get Benzema and Ramos come back and they talk some sense into his head before the end of the season. and they talk to Florentino when they come back here like, hey, Flo, we need to replace Cruz and Modric. Happily and then Vinny's happy by the summer. Vinny takes a contract we give him. We're all working together. We go get Osimhen, maybe. I don't know. Like, I'm just kidding. But we need a coach.
We need to get Upamecano. We need a center back bad.
No, so that's the thing. I wouldn't expect the season to go well. I'm very nervous to see how things go because it's clear Florentino probably doesn't understand the lack of playmaking is like I don't think he sees it as the front and center issue, which is very scary. Like just because if you don't realize that, because I'm telling you, if we had that playmaking, we could 2022 and 2024 our way to places again. We have that caliber of talent elsewhere. Like we will outperform other teams in the boxes because we have Courtois and Kylian. But we need a foundation to be able to do that. And I think Florentino, I just don't know if the critical analysis is there. And I think, because I don't see how these performances get better without consistent help from Camavinga, which frankly, I don't expect anymore. Like, I think I would be stupid. I think you'd be a fool to expect him to be healthy.
Because he's always hurt, right? Like, he came back and we were like, oh, man, look at Camavinga. And we got that great run of play from him, right? As we always do. And then I don't remember when it was 3 weeks ago now, 3 games ago, he gets hurt and we're like, oh shit, here we go again. Right? Like,
Yep. And that's why it's looking cooked. That's why the season's looking cooked. But I'm glad he didn't get sacked today. At least make it to January. Like, I feel like the further you make it into this season, the more Florentino's likely to begrudgingly accept the limitations of the squad and not do something stupid like sack him and leave us with no other coach on the market for a long time.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, if you are an elite coach, Sid, and you understand the pressures of Real Madrid and you think tactically, I've got ideas, I know how to manage, I also know how to manage egos, all that. How do you watch this situation from afar and be like, yeah, that's what I want, right? Like, I want to sign up for that, where it's clear that the president tells me who I can play or who wants that? Who wants that headache?
You know what's funny? That's actually what would quickly have Florentino get like stop all this shit he's doing with Vinny, because Florentino wants to make Real Madrid an attractive destination. And if someone called Florentino and tell him Haaland's not signing if he doesn't cut this shit out and back Alonso, that would have Florentino fix his game fast. But he doesn't believe that fundamentally. He doesn't.
He 1000% does not believe that. Look, and Florentino's been the most successful president, obviously, in this club's history. All the things we know, right? And again, it's very easy to get high off your own supply and believe I can do no wrong. I'm King Midas, right? Everything I touch turns to gold. But the reality is, right, Sid, we see it. And we talked about it during the last Champions League run. We're like, man, this is paving over a lot of cracks we have on this squad. And sure enough, we saw it, right? You lose 2 players and it's like, holy hell, this team is dog shit all of a sudden. Right?
And honestly, I felt this after Bilbao, and that's this whole team. It's not a fun month to like be trying to rebrand and relax while following this team for sure, because you just know it's going to be bad. People are drinking Kool-Aid everywhere, thinking it's going to be good, and then they need to be told and explained when things go wrong why it was always inevitable. I like the suggestion from Shuti in the comments, by the way. Alex Garcia, quick 20 million in January. We just need someone who can play with Jude, healthy in the base of midfield, who's not Fede Valverde, who's going to be playing right back, who's not Tchouaméni, Tchouaméni's good, but he's not the block manipulator, as we've discussed. Right. So we need that Camavinga, the healthy Camavinga, like replacement in the rotation. And
the sad part is, as you know, this club never makes moves in January. So, I mean, like, I would love it. I'm not holding my breath. Like,
Yeah, I'm not expecting anything, and that's why I worry for Alonso. That's really why I'm worried for him because there isn't enough. He's playing Arda. You can't help but feel Arda's playing because he's just looking to the stats and he's like, listen, if I remove Arda, we're literally not going to play football. He might be worried. Like we might just be. He might be worried it turns into a different sport out there if there's no Arda to at least like do something. But I mean, with the way Jude played today, though, there is something to go off. Like
I think so. That's a
excited.
positive, Sid. I think. Look, we both are believers in Xabi Alonso, and we think that if you want to actually have a project here and have it work well, you got to give him time. That January Supercopa, we got Atleti in the semis, and if we win that, Barcelona. Uh, th- what happens? First of all, if he's even here by then, but let's say he is, right? Those two matches to me are going to be the sort of like the mark, the signposts, right? If we get smashed in the semis and don't make it, or we get humbled in the final really badly, it's not gonna look good. It's not gonna look good for us.
Yeah, it's going to be a top Super Cup, man. I don't know how we're even going to make it through that. It's listen, I think the season's over, but yeah, I'm just repeating it just because I'm trying to be rational here. Perez is not, but we're being rational. That's why if Perez isn't rational, the season's over.
He clearly isn't, man. And I just don't know, Sid, if he's going to your point, and what we always say, is there a faction of power within the club that can be like, yo, man, we need some serious self-critical analysis here? And I'm sure there is. I'm sure there's not everybody in there is like, life is great and we piss perfume. Somebody in there is like, the fuck are we doing? The question is, are there enough of them, and do they have enough power? Well, clearly so far the answer is no.
Right. And honestly, it's like almost feels like maybe they only say things in a way where they don't ruffle the feathers too much so they can stick around. You never know. Well, listen, Flo, if you play the Don role, then you're going to be scrutinized like a Don, and you got to deliver like Don Corleone. Like you got to be there. And you're not doing that right now. You know, you can't put all this stuff out. You haven't retained a league title, bro. No one's falling for this shit. Like, come on. And
Seriously.
you know, outside the club, they make fun of us. Like they're like, oh, Real Madrid. Inside the club, though, everyone's just desperate to think that they have their own way, their unique way of doing things. And like, it's just funny because a lot of these guys really don't take ownership or responsibility for the details that lead to those wins, but they want to be associated with the branding. And so they're like, we'll do it our way. It's just the
narrative is a powerful drug, Sid. It is a powerful, powerful drug. And it is so easy to believe your own hype. So easy.
Way too easy, especially when you win. And the more you win, the harder it is. And that's why history is full of like, you know, people rising and then falling. That's why it's hard to stay on top for a long time for that reason, for sure. I do think the whole conversation philosophically of what you do is interesting, but it's sad that it's come to this where you realize maybe that convo's not being had by Florentino as often as you'd like. That maybe we're talking about it every day, but Florentino's like, just sign someone else or leak to the media. We'll put pressure on Xabi. I'm sure the guy will figure it out if we do that. That's what he's doing.
That's what it seems like, right? And this is his way of doing things. I'm just going to sign the best players in the world, and they'll just figure it out, and we'll just win titles, you know. And it's like, okay, maybe.
Imagine gifting. I love this, Cake Eater. Imagine gifting 3 league titles out of 5 to a broke Barca. That's
literally
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Literally a broke Barcelona team.
Well, 2 things we'll remember from tonight. Valdepenas was born, and maybe Alfredo Di Bellingham or Luca Jude, whatever you want to call him.
Jude Modric.
Well, I'm just saying he's now does almost everything. Like there's just a few aspects of like attracting the defender and playing mini through balls in a way Modric did that he won't do. But listen, Modric was one of one in the way he did that. So I don't expect that. But the criticism with the Di Stefano comp when I made it some time ago, and you know, recently before he started playing well, I started thinking, that was like me being in my own Kool-Aid, was that Jude doesn't actually play the midfield and striker. Like as we discussed from 2 years ago, he was more of a forward who was being connected to the midfielders. But today was really the closest thing to like a perfect midfielder. Like it was ridiculous. And I just want to emphasize it because I think it's really easy to be like Jude's first game of the season was Atletico and blame this on him.
Right.
But it's really, I just want to emphasize, like, it's definitely not his fault. Like, fine, maybe the locker room conditions meant he shouldn't have played that game. But it's clear that, like, he just ended up being a weird fit into what was already a team that wasn't going to work. Like, we're not going back to the team of Arda passing to Mbappe without Jude. We're not going to win playing that way. Teams know what's coming.
Mm-hmm. No, you're 100% right. Look, I think part of the thing with Jude, like, I don't know, bad rap's the wrong word, but to your point about he's the role model and he's the leader, he is the guy on the pitch when things are not going well and his teammates are messing up. That's the one going, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like that, he's that person. That's the one grabbing dudes by the scruff of the neck and like, get your shit together. And when they don't, Sid, his natural default is, well, fuck it. If you're not going to do it, then I guess I got to do it myself then, right? I think that's just naturally how, fine, I got to go connect down here and I got to go up top and make the passes because you guys can't do anything. And that sort of, and I don't think that's because he's some kind of hog and wants all the glory or limelight. I just think he's the ultimate competitor and wants to fucking win. And when he doesn't see people rise their level as he has, he's like, fucking, what are you doing?
Yeah, there was even an interesting moment in the game. He made a pass and he was gesturing, and I was like, was he mad that they're not moving the ball fast, that they're not making the run the way? Because he was doing everything right on time, and he made this just weird gesture, like angry. And then you had Vinny. Vinny was really funny because we were putting ball pressure after we go up 1-0, and I thought some of his ball pressure was good, but there were a couple moments. There was just one moment when he was doing the thing where, like, the ball's in front of him and he just sticks his hands out and points.
Right.
Like,
right.
But he,
right. It's like, who are you pointing to? It's like LeBron on defense being like, yo, get back. That's your man. You go get him.
The best comp is if in the NBA playoffs, Donovan Mitchell against Dallas. You remember that moment? You remember Mitchell is standing, pointing his hands, like trying to tell people. It's like, what are you doing, bro? You're just standing there and pointing. But hey, credit where it's due. Vinny did do the running a bit for Kylian today because Kylian was hobbled. So Vinny would sometimes press from the front when Kylian ended up on the left. If Kylian was up front, Vinny would do the work on the left. It wasn't great or perfect, but the enthusiasm was there. But hey, listen, this guy clearly like pulled strings to stay out on the pitch. So I don't know what to say.
Again, we don't know for sure. And I will say, we didn't mention it. I have to be fair. That was for sure should have been a penalty. Vinny did deserve to earn that one. I always say, look, there's degrees to them, whether it's a soft or a harsh one, and I say that all the time. But I always say this too. You know, as a defender, when an attacking player is in the box, you know any slight contact when they go to the ground, by rule and by definition, that is a penalty, right? And if you go back and watch it, his leg stuck out, right? Like no attempt on the ball, he goes over. Now, you could argue, did he go down too easily? All attackers do that shit. They know when they feel content and go down because you're gonna get the call. Vinny didn't. So I understand his frustration and his anger with not getting the call there.
Yeah, and I agree it would have been kind of soft if they gave it, but you definitely could have given it because the guy's moving. Vinny's definitely developed his tendencies and gotten better at diving over the years. But yeah, it's hard. It's annoying. Wish he got the penalty. Yeah, it definitely felt like at that moment too, he was like, see, like looking around, like, look what they do to me, like in here. like that little bit of that victim stuff coming out too. Like, hey, like you're singling me out. And it's not ideal. We do get our fair share of penalties won. It's not like they're not calling them all the time against us, I wouldn't say. With that being said, I am excited to see the results of the Negreira trial when it comes out. Surprising lack of coverage in public media, I will say. Like,
well, we know why that is.
Well, I just find it strange. Like, I don't really understand. I would like to, like, you know, if Sid Lowe ever comes on the show, you guys should go tag him. Like, hey, go on Real Deal Pods Explain. Like, if you guys are really a mob for us, go tag these people. Because, like, I promise you, we won't let them get away with bullshitting to our faces. But
exactly,
I promise you that we could ask them. But very excited to see the outcome of the trial. So yeah, Valdepenas, Bellingham, Negreira. We got a few positives today.
Negreira.
And that 8 million we got back too.
Yes, correct. Well, you know, Flo's happy about that. Great, $8 more million. Don't know where that money's going.
No, that and the NFL game. Those are Florentino's Champions Leagues. That's his Ballon d'Or. Florentino got his Ballon d'Or already. Now he already won his Ballon d'Or when the NFL game was finished.
He's done. He's like, I'm finished. I already got what I wanted. Listen, everybody, thank you as always for tuning in. Please like the video if you haven't already. Right now, just hit the like button. That helps us in the algorithm. Share it. Subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed already. And if you want the audio-only version of this, we're on Apple, Spotify. You can listen to it later. As Sid said, tell people about it. Tag Sid Lowe, all these people on ESPN, tell them to come on here. Talk to us. We got lots of questions. And again, to Sid's point, we won't let them sidestep with soft stuff. We'll ask the hard-hitting stuff.